test, test, testing, 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 test, 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 testing, 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 test, test, test Ickles, test Ickles. Welcome everyone to episode 758 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Slaycast, and Sleazecast. Let's go back to the Sleazecast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome everyone to the most muscular audio and visual gains you are going to get any day of the week. And what the hell, twice on Sunday. Let me give you both of them. Let me flaunt Everest and K2 flexing on you. Today's gonna be some fucking fire. Gonna go balls deep today. Gonna go straight to the taint. And I am extremely grateful that all of you are joining on the Quadcast. Thanks for joining live on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube's every day. Thank you for showing up right now so you can watch this live streaming in those four locaciones, and you can catch all the episodes on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. So wherever you like to enjoy smashing your ear holes with some audio gains, you can do so there as well. Welcome, Scott. Thanks for joining on YouTube. Yes, I'm here for the first time. Is it your first Swole? Is it anyone's first Daily Swole? This is episode 758. So it's obviously not my first Swole. It's not my first rodeo. So if it's yours, make sure you say what up, and I am happy to give you a muscular shout out. I don't do regular shout outs. I do muscular shout outs. I flex and I say your name and I go, no, I really don't. But maybe I will. Maybe I will. I should start doing that as like an offering. Hey, if you show up and you say it's your first Swole, I'll grunt in your honor. Every time I grunt, it's in your honor. So if I'm ever grunting, it's pretty much my way of saying I love you. Kathleen eating cherries, yum, nice. Casey, what's going on, bro? On Facebook, what's going on? The Rikes. Grace flexing some biceps. Make sure you flex some biceps, float some emojis. There's the bicep emoji for a reason, so that's always useful. It's not my first Swole, just time difference of 8 hours is killer, so catch on the replay. Where are you from, Scott? 8 hours. You must be Eastern Europe, I would assume. I think the UK is 6, or most in the UK is 6. Are you in, or somewhere in, I shouldn't say Eastern Europe, but Europe in general? I think the UK is like 5 or 6 hours. But welcome. I'm assuming it's that direction and not West Coast. You're not just like in Hawaii, but I guess you could be, right? What's the time difference for Hawaii from East Coast? Is that like 5 or 6 hours too? UK, so you're right, 6 hours. Okay, so you're just approximating. Sweet. Well, welcome. Grunt for me, June 30th, when I put your tips to the test in the cage. You're putting my tips to the test? You're going to test my tips? Careful. Careful, careful, careful. In the cage with my extensive MMA background, right? Yeah, with all the MMA that I've done. all the cage fighting that we talk about here on the daily is going to help you, I'm sure. No, but the nutrition, right? If it's strength training, if it's functional training, if it's yoga, that's going to help for sure. But yeah, we don't talk about that stuff. I stay in my lane. Papa Swolio stays in his lane. I'm going 85, but I'm going straight. I'm going straight to Gainesville. Just fucking straight up the gut. Taylor Harding on Facebook. Rare to catch you live. Catch me live, fam. Usually catch you on Anchor every morning. Really? Really? Well, you know that I'm not posting. It's not the same. You don't get the Swole on Anchor, right? Thank you for all the content. Daily nukes are changing my whole approach. Sweet. Yeah, make sure. I mean, there's also the Swolenormous audio podcast, which is like little short 2-3 minute little knowledge nukes. So there's Swolenormous audio, and there's also the Daily Swole. So the Daily Swole is its own playlist. So if you're doing any kind of Apple Podcast action, you'll see that I got 2 podcasts, but mostly it's the Daily Swole. Every once in a while, I'll drop something on Swolenormous audio. But yeah, check me out there. Make sure you subscribe to both because they're both different. I like having the shorter approach too. I think that's important. I think it's important to have like the little snippets, something you can just pick up and run with rather than you don't have to sit down and listen to a half hour, an hour podcast. Swolenormous loves yas. I loves yas too. I loves yas. Loves yas. Chest and arm day destroyed today. Super sweet. I haven't pumped today. I might. I think I'm going to do chesticles and backticles. I think I'm going to do my back titties today. I'm going to slam some back nips. Some back titties. Also Apple Podcast. Rock on. Yeah. All right. So you're following me everywhere. Taylor's getting the audio gains wherever wherever they are. So today, episode 758. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Today, I posted a video on getting started yesterday, the day before on YouTube. And I'm also going to throw that up on Facebook. I just did an edit for Facebook. And why are YouTube comment sections in general full of trolls and keyboard warriors? And so I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing any trolls on YouTube right now. YouTube is like that's because YouTube is OG. YouTube is old school. And YouTube, you can have screen names. Anytime someone can hide behind a screen name, you're going to get a lot more racism. You're going to get a lot more verbal diarrhea because if you can hide behind, Tooth Slayer 725, you can say whatever you want or you can create your screen name. Facebook is a little bit, people get pretty vocal on Facebook. I think social media is now to the point where people don't care so much. Like, you could see my name, you could find out everything about me. People are pretty you know, offensive on Facebook as well, but it usually stays between the lines more when you have your real name attached. And I think that's because you have less, you have less cover. You're not cloaked by a screen name. And the OGs like Periscope and YouTube, the original social media platforms where people were posting tons of content, they were all screen name based, right? AOL and those types of things. So keyboard jockeys are going to be keyboard jockeys, especially when they can hide behind a screen name. And that usually happens on platforms like YouTube where you're less exposed. So, same thing with Twitch. Twitch, you get a lot of that. Twitch is a young platform in general. It's young in terms of how long it's been out or, hitting the mainstream, but it's big with gamers, and gamers are notorious ass clowns when it comes to trolling and dropping comments and trying to get a rise out of people. But, I sometimes address it. It doesn't phase me though. I think it's funny. Did I miss the flex? You did, Matthew. You did, but it's okay. I usually flex twice. I flex a lot. I flex a lot on my been flexing a lot on my YouTube channel with those workouts. How many of you have done the single leg Romanian deadlift? How many of you have done that superset that I posted the other day on YouTube? How many of you have tried that? I'm getting a bunch of messages, especially those of you that are on the Daily Swole Club. You are loving that single leg. And if you haven't practiced yet, I highly recommend that you do so. So I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying, I tried that. It crushed me. I've been falling over. I couldn't even stay on one leg half the time. How'd you do that so smoothly? How'd you do it without shaking? And it's really practice. It's really practice. And that kind of segues us into the topic for today. Where do you start? Because that, for example, is an exercise, right? That's a place to start. And tried and destroyed. So good, so tough for me. I've tried. I felt uncomfortable. You're going to feel uncomfortable. And that will just take us right into the main topic, which is where do you start? Where do I start? And you can use this concept whether you've been in the gym for 10 years or whether you're just stepping into the fitness realm and trying to make changes for the first time in your life. Where do you start is always a concern, right? Where do you start? Or even when you're changing gears, if you've been training for a while and you're trying to do something new, where do you start with your new program? Where do you start with your new approach to training? You want to get into yoga. You've been lifting for 30 years. You've never done yoga before. Where do you start? You've been doing yoga. You've never done strength training before. You've done cardio your whole life. You've done spinning. You've done mountain biking, running. You've never lifted weights. Where do I start? So it doesn't mean that when you say, where do you start? Or when the title of this podcast is, where do I start? It doesn't mean, I'm 500 pounds overweight. I've never worked out before. Where do I start? It counts for that too, but it really covers all aspects of where do I start. Like, even if you're changing where you are now and you're changing your approach to your training. I feel like Facebook is for uneducated, mostly negative posting for attention only. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's the opposite. I don't know. I don't know. I feel it depends. It's hard to say which platforms for what because the algorithms change so much and what they want you to see and what the platforms and what they're trying to get you to see and get you to click on. It almost skews kind of everything else about the platform. I don't think Facebook's a negative. I don't think Facebook's a negative place. I think people treat it negative just because it's been around the longest and people are tired. Oh, everyone knows what I'm doing every day. The only reason anyone would know what you're posting, everyone's always afraid, right? They shut down their Facebook account because everyone knows what I'm doing. I don't want people to see what I'm doing. then change your privacy settings, you tard. Anyone that ever cuts off their Facebook because they don't want people to see what they're doing, or they know too many people or too many people are on Facebook, they don't understand that you have privacy settings and you can adjust who sees what you post in every aspect of your Facebook. So it takes like 3 minutes and you can literally have a close group of friends only see what you post and your privacy is protected. You can do whatever you want. I don't use my personal Facebook account. I never post on it. I only use it for my pages and stuff. I don't interact at all with my personal account. Um, but yeah, you can adjust everything yourself. So there's really no excuse not to use a platform, especially when there's such great interaction. And so, but there's something for everyone. It's different flavors. Some people like Nike, some people like Adidas and Reebok, and it's the same way with what app you use on your phone. But the point is with social media and with whatever app it is, it doesn't matter. You have phones, we have connectivity, we have the technology. The app, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, that's really irrelevant. It's really irrelevant. I'm going to be here, and no matter what is the most popular or is the easiest to use or the easiest to distribute, I'm going to use that. So if it becomes Twitch and that's the number one thing that everyone's using, I am going to be using Twitch like everyone else will be. I'm going to be doing. I'm just choosing the direction where everyone likes to consume the content. So I'm not really locking down whatever I use. I'm just using what is popular. Like all of you, you're using what you like, and I'm using what you like. That's it. You use what you like, and I'm trying to use what you like. That way, because you like to use that, you can enjoy my content on what you like to use, and that's it. And that's it. But getting back to so that's that. I don't know. I think there's negativity everywhere. That's a huge problem with just human beings in general. That's a problem with human nature in general. There's a lot of negativity, especially online, when you can hide behind your phone or your keyboard, like you said, keyboard warriors, jockeys, trolls, whatever you want to call them. They're everywhere. Those are never gonna change. Even when it's virtual reality, you're gonna have virtual reality trolls. You're gonna have like someone in the background. You can do it. You can do it. You are like from Happy Gilmore. You jackass. There's gonna be some like little virtual reality person in the crowd when I'm doing a podcast, making fun of my man bun or something, like virtual reality trolls. That's what's up. That's what eventually is gonna happen. Augmented reality, mixed reality trolling. Hey, Papa Swole, I just finished yin yoga for hamstrings. It felt so good. Been a while. Haven't caught you on live. Yeah, those yin classes are fire. Have you tried the yin for shoulders yet in Swolenormous X, Marissa? That's an amazing one. That was added last week. The yin for shoulders was fantastic. Yo, what up, fam? What's up, Oliver? Okay, so what I wanted to segue into the the topic for today when I was discussing the single leg. So those of you that have done the single leg exercise I posted a couple days ago, and it's on my YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, the training playlist, there's a superset, Romanian deadlift, single leg, and also sumo squat. So I posted that superset and a bunch of you tried it and you started, right? So let's go back to some of those contents. You felt uncomfortable. Someone else was saying that it destroyed me. It was so tough for me, but you started it, right? But you started and you did it. And when it comes to where do you start, when it's related to yoga, whether it's cardio, whether it's nutrition, no matter what you're doing. And I always recommend, no matter what it is that you're doing with your fitness, whatever you're trying to bite off and chew, that you pick one thing, right? You pick one thing and you focus on it. You pick one thing and you focus on it. One thing. Try not to focus on too many things. I think it's okay to focus on nutrition in addition to your training, especially when you start, as long as you're observing the nutrition. I don't think it's the best place to start. I always talk about fitness first. It's okay to do the nutrition jump start and to start eliminating foods, but sometimes for a lot of people, it can be very, I want to say counterproductive to do two things at once. Counterproductive. I want to know your opinion on that. So let me know what you think in the comments. I think when you're trying to attack your fitness and nutrition first, that's where most programs and that's where most people fail is they try to do too many things at once. They try to overhaul their nutrition, right? Change everything that they're eating, change what they're buying, change what they're cooking, change their taste, right? What time of day they're eating certain things. Then they're adding a brand new routine. They're doing something all of a sudden 5, 6 days a week. They signed on for some kind of routine that is every day. So all of a sudden they went from doing nothing and eating crap to changing every last thing that they're eating, everything they're consuming, everything that they've known to be real in their life, and their entire physical habits are changing because they're going to the gym 5 days a week, 6 days a week. That can be I don't want to say overstimulating, it can be overloading. It can be too many things to try to handle and to lock down at once. That's where a lot of people get stuck on, is trying to bite off more than they can chew. They try to do the nutrition and the fitness at the same time. And life is long. Life is long. If you're looking for some short-term results, right? If you're looking for a 6-week shred or these amazing transformations in 60 days or 90 days or 30 days, whatever marketing there is behind that, if you're being unrealistic with your goals, you're going to try to overdo too many things. You're going to try to change too many things at once. And what happens from that? You don't get consistent. You fall off. You don't get results because you're trying to build muscle and shred fat and get a flat stomach and also get tighter arms and look better. You're trying to fucking get taller. And I mean, yeah, that's obviously a joke, but you're trying to do so many fucking things at the same time. Why can't you focus on long term and get your body healthier overall? Get yourself psychologically healthy in addition to physically healthy, and understand that it doesn't all have to happen in week one. When you think about where do you start, the reason why most people don't start is because they think about week 35 and 41 and week 92. They think of everything in one big bucket. You think of all the training sessions, all the years, all the months, all the hard work, all the meals, all the meal prepping, all the this, that, and the other. And you think about it all in once, you get overloaded, you get burnt out psychologically, and you crash. And all it is every day. It's the daily approach. You're not going to get this in a week. You're not going to get this in a month. And you're also not going to have that same schedule or that habit locked down in a week or 2 or 3 or in 2 months. I mean, what happens in 3 months when you kinda get on your routine, right? You're rocking, right? You're doing well, you're 3 months in, you're seeing some great results, you kinda scheduled your training in the morning, you're going before work, you're making your meals every Tuesday and Friday night, you're doing it, you're doing it, you're doing it, and all of a sudden, you lose your job, or you change jobs, or you move, or your schedule changes, and you got the new schedule for the next 3 months, and it's completely different. What do you do then? You're gonna have to adjust. Or do you fall off and all of a sudden my schedule changed and, "Oh my god, I'm so stressed. I can't eat this. Oh, I'm just gonna grab fast food and, oh man, well, now I'm losing my results. I gained 2 pounds." So then, "Oh, fuck it." And then you fall off and you never get back on fitness again. Things are gonna change. Like, whatever's perfect now is not gonna be perfect in 6 months. Whatever you're doing now that you're consistent with now, you're going to have to adjust and manipulate and change possibly in a month, possibly in a year. Maybe you can stay on this schedule for 10 years. That's fine, but you're going to have to adapt in the progress. So if you are always trying to wait for, let's say, the perfect moment to start, you're looking for the perfect window, you're trying to wait till Monday to start your new program, or you're trying to do it all at the same time, or I don't know, you're waiting for the stars to align. Like, what do you want to happen? There's never going to be a perfect time, and just starting and learning how to adjust along the way is the most important aspect of anything, of any type of progress. I have a bunch of quotes on the wall that talk about literally jumping off a cliff. And one of the famous entrepreneurial quotes and, forging your own path quotes is, you jump off a cliff and then assemble an airplane on the way down. And that's kind of like what, I guess, taking a leap of faith or putting a lot of effort in and hoping that you survive. You jump off a cliff, assemble an airplane on the way down. You better finish it in time before you hit the ground. That's the analogy, right? That's the thought behind it. That you have to literally just get into it. You're not going to have the plane perfectly assembled and then take off and then it's going to be a bunch of unicorns and rainbows. You're going to have a lot of shit that goes on along the way. So that kind of pressure, that kind of hard work that you're doing while you're falling, right? While you're falling from the cliff, assembling that airplane on the way down, there's pressure, right? There's also a lot of hard work and there's also a high probability of failure. And that's the mental approach that you need, is there's a very good chance that you will fail. Why wouldn't there be? Why should there ever be this assumption or this, I guess, projection into the future that you will be successful or that this will work? I think that's optimism. I think that's very powerful. I think optimism is very important. It's hope. It's going to keep you inspired, going, motivated if you want to use that word. I don't like to because you might feel motivated, but it's going to be temporary. I'm fine using that word. I always say fuck motivation. Motivation doesn't exist. It exists. It's a word. There's a definition. You could look it up. What does it mean? I just mean that it's what you feel. It's not something that happens. Oh, I'm motivated. Okay. Well, what about in 5 minutes? What about in 5 hours? What about in 5 days? What about in 5 weeks? What about in 5 months? What about in 5 years? You might not feel quite the same way. You might feel exhausted, burnt out. Trust me, I do. I absolutely do. I absolutely feel burnt out. I feel worn down. I feel tired. I feel, I do the same thing most of the day. Most of my days, I do the same thing. I've also been doing most of the same thing for most of my life in terms of going to the gym, eating a certain way, having specific goals like for physique wise and for training. Now that shifts when that shifts into production, video editing, podcasting, content production. There's a lot of monotony. There's a lot of stuff that's the same old fucking thing. Do you think it's exciting? Uploading a podcast? This is fun. Filming it's fun. Talking to you all right now. This is the fun part. This is the fucking fun part right now. This is the easy part. The show is the easy part. I mean, I wouldn't say any of it's hard. I enjoy it. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's the same thing with your fitness. It's the same thing with your fitness, the same thing with your training. So right here, we'll talk, we'll bang out this podcast and we'll throw down some awesome content. We'll talk about motivation, how it sucks. Motivation is a fickle mistress. Indeed. It's a slut. It's a whore. Will bang someone else the minute you turn your back. But that's like the tip of the iceberg, right? This is the tip of the iceberg. Once I'm done with this, it's about editing the audio and uploading it and tagging it and giving the titles and distributing it and making it available so you can listen to it later. And the video and the other videos and the messages and the programs and all the stuff that I'm doing in Swolenormous X and all the other things, not to mention my own personal, like you have your life too. Your fitness is part of your life. That's why when you make it your fitness part of your life, it's easier to stay consistent with it. It's easier to stay disciplined if you combine it. A lot of people will hate on that video I did fitness is life and say, no, it's not life. You still have other things to enjoy in this. Why can't it be all intertwined? Why can't your fitness be an integral part of your entire life? It doesn't have to be separate. And it's easier if you make your fitness part of your life. You want to go do a family outing? Well, don't go to the movies, go to the park. Throw a frisbee around, go for a hike, go for a walk, go bike riding, go for a swim, like do something. Do yoga with the family in the park, You can do fit things. You can have a family dinner, eat healthier food. Why can't you have great company and great conversation and a great family atmosphere and eat better foods? I think that actually plays into having a better family atmosphere. Less sugar crashes, less mood swings, better health, more rest. Everyone's going to be in a better mood. I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And when you make it part of your life, when you make it part of everything that you do, it's easier to stay disciplined because it's integrated. It's a part of it all. If you make it separate, it's something that can be excused, right? If your fitness and eating healthy and going to the gym is something that's like, oh, this is something that I do. Well, I'm not doing that today because today's Saturday. I'm not doing that today because today's Sunday. Today's Monday. I don't do that on Monday. We're going to do these things. I'm going to eat like crap. I'm going to go do. Why is it different? You can have entertainment. You can have fun. You can have a good time and not, be stuffing your face with garbage foods by you can have your family, you can have everything that you have normally in your life. You just don't have to, if you don't separate those things. I think the separation is a big issue with a lot of people. That separation gets people away from the fact that everything that you do in your life is fitness, is health, because your body is your health. And if you don't have your body, you have nothing. You can't fucking enjoy Netflix if you're dying. If you're dying, if you're like unhealthy, you can't walk to the toilet. You can't get up off the toilet. These are extremes, or are they? Are these really extremes, or are these real, real? Are these realities that we're going to face in our older and later years? It might seem extreme when you're 30, 40, or 50 years old, but trust me, when you're 80, these are going to be realities. All your friends are going to be in wheelchairs. Are you going to be right there with them in the nursing home? Or are you going to be more independent? Sunday fun day, gym day, every day that ends with Y. Represent. It's about 4:45 here in the States. My gym closes about 8 o'clock on Sunday, so I'm definitely gonna get a pump on after we do this podcast. And I love doing the show. I love doing this stuff because it fires me up, right? So anytime I'm thinking I'm sending out this message and we're talking about this stuff, and of course we're taking great comments. I always ask my friends for active outings. I love this message. Jenny and Joanne, thank you. It's a way of life indeed. But anytime I do these podcasts, I get amped up myself. I get excited. I get excited and then I want to go. I preach what I practice. I practice what I preach. It goes both ways, right? I'm not just saying this, I do it myself. You're not going to feel like it every day. You're not going to feel like it. You're not going to want to do it. And when it comes to starting, whether you're a beginner or whether you are advanced and you're switching gears, you just need to start. Literally do something. Assume you're going to fail. Assume that it's not going to go well. And that doesn't mean be pessimistic. That doesn't mean be pessimistic. And I want to make that clear. It doesn't mean be negative. Oh, this is going to fail. So let me reword that because I think it just that came off a little bit negative. So it's not pessimism. It's doing things without expectations. It's doing what needs to be done without the expectation that it's going to be successful, without the expectation that it's going to go exactly the way you want it to. Like literally do things and then adjust. So if you start a workout program and you do it for months or you give it its due diligence and you execute it the way it should be executed and you're not happy with the results and you analyze it and you look at what you want to get out of it and what you're doing, you tweak things and you adjust and you move on and you try different things. You have to try things enough to really make a proper decision whether or not they work, but you have to give them enough time. You have to be patient, but you have to literally do these things. You have to do it. So thinking, planning, talking, blah, 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 thinking, watching, planning, you need to start doing. You need to start doing. If you're not doing, you're not moving forward, right? Again, it comes down to jumping off the cliff, building the airplane on the way down. That famous quote. I don't know who said it. I didn't say it. Someone else did. And it's a great quote. It's on my wall. So you can Google that. Jump off a cliff, build the airplane on the way down. Could that succeed? Sure. Could that fail? Abso-fucking-lutely. But you don't know until you do it. And there should be a pressure because we're losing time. We have one life, so we are constantly with that the sand clock, right? Why can't I? What is that called? Why can't the sand clock? Why can't I think of what that's called? The sand wheel, the hourglass. Fuck. I'm glad I got that before someone typed it. It's one of those things where you forget what it's called, and then you're like, shit, it's gonna bother you all day. All right, so the hourglass, right? The sand comes out, and by the time it all comes out, an hour has passed, right? So the hourglass, we all have that, and that's our life. And so technically when you're not doing things that are towards your goal, you're essentially wasting time that you can't get back. An egg timer. You need to start doing. You need to jump in. You essentially need to jump in the deep end of the pool and learn how to swim. Now, that doesn't mean lift weights that are too heavy that are going to cause you damage. You're going to get injured. It doesn't mean start with a level 3 yoga class when you've never done yoga before. No, it just means start doing something entry level. Just get moving. Try something. Get involved. That's why all my training and all my programming is it's not intimidating because it starts you off the right way. It gets you looking at your food with the elimination process, right? Start here. What exactly should I be eating? Don't worry about it. You're going to figure this out. Let's start making the proper decisions and eliminating some of the crap that you are eating. Let's start there. And then you go through that and you start figuring out which ones are the most inflammatory to you. And you find out a ton of information and you learn about your body a lot. And then you say, okay, well, I need to start with some mobility training. I haven't worked out in a while. I have some existing, discomfort or injuries or things I'm dealing with. I need to start with yoga and mobility. Well, where should I start? Start with this beginner yoga class. Great. Should I do the whole thing? Do what you can and then do it again the next day. Just start. Just start. Just start doing it. You'll see amazing progress. And what's interesting is the only time you'll see the only way you will see amazing progress is by starting. You cannot see progress by not moving forward. And that might seem obvious. And a lot of these things are okay. Well, that's just a stupid thing. You just repeated the same thing twice. But without starting, you can't move forward, right? You can't adjust and make it better. You can't adjust and tweak it because you haven't even begun yet, right? You have to just begin and not give up. One of the biggest factors of getting results and getting to the finish line is simply not quitting. It's as simple as that. You just didn't quit. You just kept going and kept changing things and kept doing things without the willingness to stop. You weren't willing to stop. You weren't willing to quit. You weren't willing to give up. You decided, no, I can stop right now or I can keep going. I could stop or I could keep going. And you had decided to keep going. And chances are you will get some good outcomes from that because you will get nothing by not moving forward. You get absolutely nothing when you quit. Nothing. You just don't get anything. You don't have anything if you quit. It's that simple. It's that simple. If you quit, you have nothing. And that's it. Quit, you have nothing. Move forward and you have a chance. If you quit, you get nothing. And that's as simple as it gets. So start, adjust, manipulate, do your best. And I actually did another video today that will probably be on YouTube in the next couple days. There's no good or bad in fitness. There's no I won fitness or I'm really good at fitness. I'm really good at exercise. Physique and aesthetics are opinion. It's subjective. If you think someone looks great, someone else might say, "Oh, their legs are too small or their biceps are this," or it's an opinion. It's very subjective. It's like art. You might love a painting and someone else might hate it. So there's no good or bad there. It's subjective. You cannot have good or bad. It's still subjective. Even when it comes to professional bodybuilding, okay, you have judges that go on certain things, but it's still subjective. It's still subjective. You're still looking and measuring and your opinion on certain things in some cases. So there's no win or lose. There's no I'm awesome, I'm bad. It's practice. And it's based on what you can do. It's based on what your goals are. It's based on where you're coming from. If you have 3 children and 2 jobs and you work 18 hours a day, you need to be realistic with what you can get from your fitness. You need to be realistic with how much time you actually have. You need to manage your time extremely well. And you need to execute your workouts in a certain fashion that's going to work around your schedule and your responsibilities. It's still completely possible. A lot of people do it, but it's also very easy to make excuses. And I'm not saying that excuses aren't valid. An excuse is a reason not to do something. And some people have much better excuses. And think of that as like bulletproof glass. When you have a really good excuse, okay? Let's say you're taking care of a family member who's either mentally or physically handicapped, okay? Or incapacitated or like bedridden, right? They injured their back or they had surgery or they have a lot of health concerns, right? Wheelchair, something like that. You would have to say, okay, that's a better excuse than, oh, I don't feel like it. Okay. I mean, you have a little bit more, you have a lot more, I would say, validation for that excuse. There's a lot more of a reason that you can justify, right? Psychologically, because I have these responsibilities. I have to take care of my family member. I have to do this. I have to have the kids. And rather than just straight up, I don't feel like it. Oh, I don't want to go. My favorite show is on, or the basketball game's on tonight. I can't go to the gym. All right. So I'm not saying that there aren't excuses that are thicker bulletproof glass. And the reason why some of you haven't started or don't get results is because you might have excuses that have thicker bulletproof glass. You can hide behind them better and not get hit by a bullet, so to speak. Okay. The average person isn't, no one's going to criticize you on the street. Your friends or your colleagues or people you have casual conversations around the water cooler. No one's going to criticize you. You're like, oh, yeah, you got 3 kids. Oh, busy. Yeah, man. Life's tough, man. And everyone goes back to their life. And you see your neighbor, you shoot the shit for 5 minutes, talk about some stupid bullshit, and then go on your way. You talk about the weather that no one cares about. It's just busy talk because you have nothing to say to the other person. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. No one really cares. It's something that you say and you just convince yourself because the more you say it, the more you say how busy you are, and the more you say how little time you have and how challenging it is, the more you believe it, the more it becomes your reality. And then you don't have to try. And then you don't have to change. Then you don't have to do anything about it because you justified it enough to yourself. The only thing is the reality of it is you still look in the mirror, you look the same, or you look worse, or you're getting less healthy. You're becoming more unhealthy. You're moving towards those diseases, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, hypertension, high blood pressure, heart disease, whatever the hell you want to call it, whatever it is for you. But you're not moving in the right direction. Okay. And plus, when you strengthen the body, you strengthen the mind too, and vice versa. So you have to strengthen the mind to strengthen the body. You have to be a little harder. You got to be harder up top. You got to be tougher up top. You have to not take no for an answer. You have to keep going when it sucks. You have to train when you don't feel like it. You have to stretch when you don't feel like it. You should meditate when you least feel like it. You should do these things when you least feel like it because that earns you the discipline. That creates the habit. That creates that foundation. And we expect to have discipline because we purchased a fitness program, because we looked up a video on YouTube, because we decided, I want to get abs. We don't grasp the concept of how challenging it is to see our abdominal muscles, how many things have to be undone and fixed with our hormones and with our physiology to maybe even potentially see abdominal muscles. And it's such an arbitrary thing to want, right? So we aren't aware in general, the population, society, we're not aware of how challenging it is to get to that level of fitness, especially coming from the complete opposite end of the spectrum in terms of lack of health and eating crap for 30 years and being sedentary. It's a completely different shift for the body, and it's not possible for everyone. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm not going to say just because you have a gut right now doesn't mean you can't get that. But the proof is in the pudding. Not everyone achieves that. So that realistic aspect. And that's why the other day when I was talking about getting and chasing a number of body fat percentage, someone was talking about getting to 6% body fat or 10% body fat. Not everyone's going to get there. Maybe that person will. Not everyone's going to get to be 13%. I don't care if you're 20% or 15% now. Not everyone's going to get to be 13%. Not everyone can be 10%. Not everyone can be. Not everyone can be. Not everyone's an amazing painter. Not everyone can play basketball really well. Not everyone can sing really well. Not everyone has the most amazing physique, even if they do lift, right? Not everyone's an amazing writer. Everyone's different. Unfortunately, unfortunately, we're all human beings and we're visual, and first impressions matter, right? When you see someone who's overweight or you see someone that has abs and you have this idea in your head, but it doesn't mean that everyone's destined to have that no matter how hard you work. It doesn't mean that that's in the cards for every single person that starts training. And no, not a lot of people want to tell you that. A lot of these websites and a lot of these fitness quote unquote professionals aren't going to tell you that. They're going to want to sell you, right, a 6 week shred program or get shredded for summer or lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. That doesn't go well for those quick fix programs, right? Or those cleanses that you drop 20 pounds of fucking water weight in 2 weeks because you pissed your brains out for 14 fucking days. That's the reality, is that not everyone is destined to have an amazing physique. And again, who's to say what an amazing physique is? Who's to say what's amazing? It's subjective. What you think is an amazing physique, or wow, I mean, this is the way it was for me for a while. People would be like, "Man, dude, you're huge or this." And I look at other people and I look at, I'm looking at bodybuilders and I'm like, "I'm not." There's so many people that are bigger and leaner and more proportionate than I am. I'm not the best. I'm not the best fitness exerciser. I don't even know what you call it, right? Bodybuilder, amateur, right? I don't have the best physique in the world. And that's my opinion. Some people might look at me and be like, "Wow, you have the best physique in the world. I wish I appreciate that." I mean, that's subjective, but there are a lot of people that are leaner, right? There are people that have better abs. No one's got a better beard, so fuck all of you. Like, I'm confident there. I'm confident in the beard. I'm good. I'm good. I'm kidding. That's opinion too, right? Someone's like, "Nah, this guy's beard's better." Fine. It's subjective. That's the point. It's subjective. Everyone's got their idea of what they want and what's the best and what's number one, but there is no best. There is no number one. There is no smartest. There is no sexiest. There is no, I don't know, best looking. Those are all subjective things that we just create, right? People magazine, sexiest man alive. I mean, how often, every single issue, here's the thing with that bullshit, right? We say the sexiest man alive. First off, all these people are still alive in each subsequent issue. So if you're the sexiest man alive in 2017, what, the other person just got less good looking in like 6 months until the next production? Every single person that's ever been on that cover of that magazine or been touted as the sexiest man alive has never ever been the sexiest man alive by anyone's standard. The sexiest A-list celebrity that they can sell magazines with? That's correct. But you see probably 10 people a day that are better looking than anyone that's ever been on the cover. And just the fact of that is, it's just to sell you something. It's to sell you a magazine. So you open it up and you read the article about The Rock or Ryan Reynolds or something, or someone who, all right, they're good looking people, but sexiest man alive, it doesn't mean anything. It's subjective. So it goes the same thing. And I know I'm talking, all right, it seems off topic, but it's not. It's just perspective. It's very, very, very subjective. And the same thing goes with your goals. So just understand that not everyone's destined to be an A-list actor. Not everyone's destined to be the sexiest man alive. Not everyone's destined to have six-pack abs. Maybe the damage you did for the first 30 years of your life is going to be extremely challenging to reverse. Maybe you'll never quite get exactly what you would ideally want to have, but maybe you were never meant to have that in the first place. Maybe that's just not in your genetic makeup. Maybe that's just not how your body works. Maybe you just don't put you try hard, but maybe you really just don't have enough time to try as hard, or you haven't figured out exactly the recipe, the foods exactly that you need to eat, the training that you exactly need to do, or you're just not there yet, or it just might take 10 more years. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to keep on putting the work in without that immediate gratification? That's the kicker, right? And Dale on YouTube, no one likes a quitter. No one does. No one likes a quitter. We talk about that, right? Everyone, the American way, the underdog, no one likes a quitter. Yeah, try hard. Watch all these movies, Rocky, this, that, and the other. And then everyone just quits all the fucking time. So we admire these people. We admire these movies. We watch these things, but we could do them ourselves in our daily life. A lot of you quit things every fucking day. Every fucking day you quit when it gets challenging. And the people that succeed are the ones that don't quit. If you look at your fitness and your training, and the only thing that you think about, no matter what happens, like no matter what you're trying, make that irrelevant. Make that irrelevant. If the number one thing that you do is just focus on not quitting, no matter what it is, just keep going, you'll get results. You'll get results. Hi, I just got here. I hope I didn't miss too much. Yeah, well, you pretty much missed the entire podcast. We're 45 minutes into it. We're wrapping it up too. You missed a lot. You'll have to go back and listen to it again. I haven't quit listening to Papa Swole. As it should be, Hillary, as it should be. I try not to say I'm too busy. We all have the same amount of time, just different commitments and priorities. Yeah, time and free time, but we all make our choices. You make your choices, then you have to live with them. Subjective, so well said. Thank you, Christy. Even good excuses are still excuses. Absolutely, John. And that's what I was saying before, that even if some excuses you might be able to justify them better, or have like a stronger, Hey, well, this is I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make it anything less an excuse, but you might be able to validate it more inside, but that still is a dangerous path because you're just really just trying to line up reasons not to do something. Joanne Mary, I've trained martial arts for years and more than capable to teach. It's this message of just do it that finally made me decide to start teaching. I'm nervous as hell about failing and losing money, but this needs to happen or I'll never do it. Yeah. Well, anything that you need to do, just do it. You'll never regret trying. You'll never regret trying. You'll never regret doing it. You know, if you did something and failed, at least you did it. But even those things, right? Those stories and the legends, right? Like Thomas Edison, he didn't figure out he didn't fail, you know, because he went through like, you know, thousands, like 10,000 different variations to make the light bulb. And he said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I figured out 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb, which is one of those like classic, amazing quotes. He kept on going. He's like, all right, that doesn't work. He didn't fail. He learned, okay, this is not how you make a light bulb. Cool. And he kept on doing it until he made obviously the one that worked. And now we have lights and all this stuff today. Not to say someone else wouldn't have done it eventually, but every time you fail, it's not a loss. You're just figuring out a way, oh, let me not do this method again because it didn't work for me. Let me do something else. You're learning something. You're learning. You're learning things about your body. Abs are overrated. Some people love them. I try not to say I'm too big. Okay, priorities. Fail equals first attempt at learning. Yes, you have to fail. First attempt at learning. Yeah. I have a question. Cool. Yeah, don't ask to ask. Just ask. I'm four. Oh, what workouts should I start with? I'm 14. I want to get ripped, but I don't know where to start. You need to start just general. Pick a general weightlifting program. Do yoga. You're 14. You got plenty of time. You're not going to get ripped when you're 14. Just start going to the gym. Start watching videos. Start with some beginner weight training program. If you have a coach or something in your school, maybe you could do like a weightlifting. Go to a local weightlifting class or something, or someone locally that knows what they're doing. You can watch my content. I got training videos on my YouTube channel. But yeah, where do you start? You just do. You just do. And there's so much content, right? There's so much content that I put out. There's so much stuff out there. The most important thing is that you start executing on things and getting it done. And speaking of executing, stop watching or listening to this podcast and go get shit done. So if you have any questions, send me a message. More than happy to respond. And those of you that are members of Swolenormous X, you got some great stuff coming this week. It's Sunday, so amazing stuff coming. More instructional videos. Make sure you go check out that poll in the private Facebook group if you're Swolenormous X members and you haven't jumped in on that. Just doing a general poll about your Swolenormous X experience. So go check that out in the Facebook group. And everyone else that's interested in all my private programming and nutrition recipes, instructional video tutorials, and everything that you need to do full yoga classes. All my yoga classes, everything HD streaming video on your tablet, mobile device, computer. It's awesome. Swolenormousx.com. If you haven't checked that out, Swolenormousx.com. And I hope no one stops listening. No one quits listening to Papa Swolio. That's the goal. Someone floating bacon and biceps. Oh, you're making me hungry. All right, so go get your pump on. Go get your shit go get your shit popping on a Sunday. And I'll be seeing all of you later. I'll be hitting you up on the Daily Swole Club. I'll send you some more knowledge nukes if you're not a member of the Daily Swole Club. Free VIP messaging list. Just send me a message on Facebook and you'll get a prompt that will tell you how to join the Daily Swole Club. So sending you fire in your messenger inbox throughout the week. So make sure you sign up there. Just send me a message on Facebook. And there's a brand new vlog on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on the Swole Motion vlog playlist. And for everyone else, I will see you tomorrow for 759. Get started, don't quit, and I'll see you all in Swolenormous X. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose. Pop, get pumpy with it.